Gautam Kumar is the Chief Technology Officer in IntelliSmart Infrastructure Private Limited. Gautam has a diversified and cross-functional experience of more than 28 years in technology solutioning, consulting, and project delivery for IoT and smart metering, business application from integration through deployment. He has successfully led the implementation of several global projects in utility sector in the area of smart metering, head-end system, MDM, CRMs, energy settlements, and contestability, asset management, and GIS across various platforms. Prior to joining IntelliSmart, Mr. Gautam was working with Cyan Conode as Chief Operating Officer, leading the operations and the engineering team. He has also worked with companies like Tech Mahindra, BSES Rajdhani, SCL Info Systems, Secure Meters, etc. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Gautam Kumar once again. So Mr. Gautam will lead us through the technical aspect of this customer behavior and digital transformation of public sector. Mr. Gautam.
Thank you, Krishnaji, and welcome. Thanks to all the eminent panelists into this session. And we discussed about many things, and CMD HL has put up the framework of this discussion. And when we look into IntelliSmart part, we are very focused in particularly working into a very specialized area. And our efforts towards that is on a very specific area of digitization, I can say, on the power distribution side. And there were a very specific mission, basically, we can say as a mission we are working. And we have been formed for that mission to look into the smart metering and bringing the benefits of the smart metering into the distribution side. We have, in the last many years since independence, have worked on many reform programs, and those reform programs have, I think I can say, on the generation side, we all discussed about that how the generation has improved, the renewables are there now, the generation is getting more greener in a way, decarbonize, I can say, we are now getting into the decarbonization of the generation side. In the same side, when we look into transmission has also improved, and I can say proud that the country is one of the best transmission systems across the world. And that's where everything has been done. When we look into the same way, when we get into the distribution side, the distribution industry has not power distribution basically, because two things are there. One of the major reasons are it is in state level, there are too many utilities and many legacy systems, processes, and in the end customers and our economics. So that area has never been in I can say, though it has improved, but there is no focused improvement area on that side. And I can say 10, 12 years back, RAPDRP programs have been there to reform, and that is the start of the digital journey for the distribution company. We felt a need that if these companies need to grow up and digital, they need to be digital. So digitalization has started 10, 12 years back as a journey in the RAPDRP, putting up the data centers, putting up the backend systems of billing and other things which moved from the paper to now the computerized billing. Later on, it has been seen that though that has given some results, but certainly more disruptive actions need to be taken up. And there where we get into when we are looking into so many distributed generation coming in, consumers becoming prosumer, and the same time the cash flows of the companies need to be looked into. So some disruptive actions need to be taken. 5 years back, National Smart Grid Mission has started up many pilot projects on doing the smart grid side of that. And out of those pilot, which I think 200-300 crore rupees were invested in doing the pilots, and it came that need to be the smart meter is one of the prominent things which need to be done to look into. And that's where we are trying to build up a large infrastructure, because those pilots have not instilled the infrastructure, I can say. And when you look into the PSU's role into, though we are not a PSU, but we are part of the ESL group and the NIF, the National Investment Infrastructure Fund. So that's where we have created this platform of bringing the money, bringing the expertise, and bringing and developing the infrastructure for DISCOMs to adopt. And that's what the job of the IntelliSmart as a vision, we have taken it up. And we are at the moment implementing around 8 million smart meters on ground. Out of that, 2 millions are already been rolled up, and more are coming in way. So this is the main, I think, and at the same time, when we are looking into when we started up this journey, when we started up with just putting up the smart meters. Now the second phase has come where we are connecting with the customers, end customers, million of end customers, and there is a, I can say, it's a cultural shift now which is happening, and digitalization is basically a digital. Being digital now is more been seen in the sense that the customers are now getting into the end customers are getting into the digital with the prepayment. And if you can see the so many years we have seen that it's a postpaid. We used to receive a bill, nobody is able to manage and see their consumption. So now what is happening is we are getting into the prepayment mode, and government of India has recently issued a gazette that for converting all the 25 crore meters to the digital, to the smart meters in prepayment mode in the next coming 5 to 7 years time. So this is a huge task to be taken up, and as a we are started up this journey of creating the platforms as we spoken about that the legacy data centers. So moving those legacy data centers into the cloud environment and utilizing the cloud for handling such a mammoth connectivity on the endpoint connectivity, in the same time the data. I can say the data is overwhelming. When you see the data which is generated from these meters, I can just, for an example, can tell you that a million meter in a year can get into 154 billion data points in a year time. So this is a huge data which we are handling out. And in the same time, when we spoke about the data security, data handling, and this is certainly a very critical area. And today we have around 4 or 5 big, I can say, cloud infrastructures where we are managing hundreds of VMs of which in the end are connecting with the meters in the real time and providing services to the customer. In some of the areas like Bihar, where we have started up a prepayment systems for more than 3 lakh customers are already on roll. Many are happening. UP, where people were earlier not thinking of getting into such services. So it's a challenge we have taken up and provided, and I think that level of trust which has come on the systems that things will work out has already come in. And that's where the government has initiated more such rollouts across the country. When we look into the data which is coming in, and data is a huge, I can say, an asset to us. Not only an asset in that sense, this whole grid now, when we are looking into the power grids, basically that need to become more digital now. And as we are getting more on, I can say the disruption is happening in. So we discussed about Mr. Ramana mentioned about how the renewables are getting in. And more renewables are in the system. The intermittency of those renewables will lead us to the problem of a stable grid. And there where the things are getting more interconnected, I can say it's the whole system has become interconnected in a way, and a very complex system now because they are disjointed. Earlier, it was a bundled, vertically integrated basically system. Now this has been, I can say, to a level, it's a democratization of the whole system has happened. So it got unbundled. Competition is coming in, so controls are now need to be looked into that when the competition retailing is coming into the power sector, which we never have thought of earlier. And then the renewables, then we are seeing the winds, then solars, rooftops, where the customers are also consuming and generating at the same time. So managing these all becomes a very Herculean task for us. And more renewables getting in, the task has become more and more difficult to maintain and a stable grid. And there where we see that the data analytics, when we talk of the machine learning, data analytics, and that's where the work has started in that area. And I think in the last few months, last 4 or 5 months, there are lot many symposiums, discussions are happening around how to use this data and what need to be done to create analytical platform in terms of countrywide in a way. And that's where incubations have started to bring startups into that, all the technology companies into this to bring and utilize this. Really saying being digital and becoming digital is a little bit different a journey, and that's the journey has started. As an IntelliSmart, we have taken a lead here and started up building up enterprise infrastructure, basically an IT infrastructure for managing the smart metering and the smart grid in the end, where we are bringing up a very large cloud infrastructure, which is the core one. And whatever we have seen in the last 4 or 5 years, bringing these projects to life and getting to them into a fast pace, actually. The integration, or I can say the putting up the backend systems, are always taking a lot of time. And that's where our expertise has come in and our learnings have come in into picture. We have created, we are in the process of creating, as a enterprise IT infrastructure. We are on the large cloud. We are bringing as a container. These applications are containerized, and there is a data lake into that, bringing the countrywide data, or all the smart meters which are on this platform, into one data lake, and then analytics can be used on that part. Further to that, there is other decentralization which is happening across different clusters for states to take care of their smart metering and the billing applications. There where I think disruptions are happening. A lot of activities have started up, and being, I can say, the first mover in terms of doing these activities, because earlier, the last 4 or 5 years, things have not moved in a I can say very structured fashion, and where the government, the PSUs, I can say, in our end, though we are not directly a PSU, but certainly we are being driven on that side, and created a platform where, or creating a platform, creating a, I can say, ecosystem where this mission of country can be taken up, and fast-paced deployments will start very soon. There's already the first deployments which we have initiated now have been taken shape of some of, I think at this moment the country is now have already running programs of more than 2 crore meters which are already ongoing, and more is in making. So this is what the journey is, and when we look into and really bringing a sector which was earlier not been used to this level of interconnectivity and digital systems, is something an Herculean task which we have taken up. Hopefully, we are serving to that part.
Thank you.